Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Today's May 13th, 2026. It's 3:30 p.m. and I'd like to call to order the Tourist Development Council meeting here in Clay County. We're going to start by introductions, and I'll start to my right with Debbie.
Debbie Beals, citizen, Keystone Heights.
Kim Evans, Accommodations.
John Scromolo, Clay County Commissioner.
Adrian Andrews, citizen.
Kevin Robert, Accommodations.
Samantha Costers, Tourism Product Development Manager.
Teddy Meyer, Tourism Director.
Stephanie Lamb, Tourism Program Manager. Cher Malta, Tourism Marketing Manager.
Awesome. Thank you all very much for being here today. And then Teddy, is Neil our only one absent?
Neil and David won't be here.
Okay, so Neil Porter and David Diaz are absent today. So moving on to our public comment section of the meeting. If you're a member of the public and you'd like to address the council, please feel free to step up to the podium. Seeing none, we'll have another public comment portion at the end of the meeting if someone shows up after this portion. Moving on to the approval of minutes, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the March 4th, 2026 TDC minutes.
I'll motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Agenda item number 2 is we're going to start with presentations from our marketing partner with Advanced Travel and Tourism, Ms. Van.
Actually, Paula Van is not here today. She's at the Destinations Florida Conference down in Bradenton, learning alongside all the tourism industry folks. So you've got Kyle Stickton here again to run through the marketing report. And we've got some exciting stuff to share with you today. So as first, then we'll look through a series of things that we've been able to do to start the year out. We'll review Kayak Angler Magazine and Paddling Magazine, some Clear Channel billboard campaigns that we ran, a cool banner that we did in Orange Park Mall, some targeted email results, and then some website performance before we look at some things on the horizon. So the first, Paddling Magazine, if you remember last year, we really invested in getting some better quality creative assets to use, some photography. And this year we've been able to deploy that strategically to reach some niche and important audiences for you guys. Paddling Magazine is one of those. We ran in their spring issue. So that was fun. We also were able to get some exposure in their email newsletter. The email newsletter is actually coming out this month for them for that, but you can see the really great assets here. The aerial photography of the paddling, the family photography of the paddling there, really showcasing that you can do a lot of that cool paddling stuff in the Clay County area of the St. John River. Their sister publication, Kayak Angler, on the next slide, you can see a little bit different slant on this, but also leaning into some of that photography and the assets we were able to get last year to showcase the cool things that you can do there in the water in Clay County. We actually got a bonus issue in the email newsletter for Kayak Angler. They accidentally ran us twice instead of Paddling Magazine, so we didn't complain. We took the extra free exposure, and we're happy with that. But this is something we'll continue to monitor what sort of traction we get from this moving forward. Up next, billboards. How great does this ad look on a billboard? That aerial shot that really highlights the open water and the peace and serenity you can get paddling on the St. John. So we're running this Clear Channel billboard campaign from March through the end of May. So you may still see some of those out and about. And just excited to how the creative assets came together for this campaign specifically. Next up at the Orange Park Mall, we had an opportunity to create a banner here that really highlighted 3 different elements of Clay County. We used QR codes to drive traffic onto your website from people who were at the Orange Park Mall. we got 100 scans of the QR codes, 87 engagement rates. And when people got to the website, they spent almost 2 minutes on there. So a really good opportunity for us to create awareness to people who are here to see all the different things they can do within their own backyard, exploring Clay County and the natural wonders that are there. So also, we get to keep this banner, so we can repurpose this moving forward. We're going to be picking it up at the end of this month. So look for it to show up other places potentially. Excited about that. Now looking at some of our digital campaigns, really wanted to highlight the email marketing. It's something we've been doing where we look to target different target markets with your email marketing. This one was targeted to Tallahassee. The average open rate on an email is usually between like 15 and 25%. We were at 37% open rate on this. So the people we sent it to, they were interested in it. They opened it, and we got a lot of good engagement once they did open it. Over 1,000 clicks within the email that brought them into the Explore Clay website. From there, just measuring the activity of what they were doing within the site was good. 98% engagement rate when people did come into the website. So really strong performance. This is a tactic we're going to continue to deploy, whether it's Tallahassee or Tampa or Orlando, other markets, but email is doing a good job of driving engagement to your website when we put it out there. We talk about engagement on the website, and the next slide kind of talks about what we measure. It's great that we drove 107,000 people into your website, and it's great that 300,000 plus pages were viewed on the website, but we always like to see what they're doing when they get there and what can we measure that's important. And so we had almost 1,000 what we'd call key events on your website. 516 were them checking out your lodging partner pages and looking at where they can stay when they come here. We always want to look at and measure that because the lodging tax drives a lot of what we do here. So it's important that we're driving people to not only check out Clay County, but stay here in one of those hotels. Dining partner clicks, visitor guides, those requests are all things that we measure there, and strong performance overall from that as well. So everything's working the way we expected it to from that regard. As we look at things that we're working on a nice, cool project for sports tourism. We know that there's a host of events that come to Clay County at your variety of facilities. So really working on a video project that can help showcase those facilities and help us land more events and tournaments and things in the area that, of course, bring people, families, competitors to the marketplace. So that'll be fun for us to get done. We're hoping to have that finished sometime Q4. Is the plan for that. Also exploring some new banners that we can host, put up at sports facilities and drive people to the website and to explore more things at Clay County when they're there. So that is a project that we're undergoing. And then the American 250 promotion. Cher and Teddy and the team are looking with the archives to find some old historic photos that we can use in a cool campaign around the history of Clay County to sort of celebrate America's 250th celebration. So that is what we've been working on the marketing side. Do you guys have any questions?
Awesome, Kyle. Thank you very much. Questions?
I had one, Kyle. Billboards, did you say they were local or outbound or in a certain market? I didn't know.
They are local. We've got those listed, and if you'd like to see the specific locations of that, we can get that for you. I don't have it right in front of me, but it is a local campaign. Yes.
That was my question too, is where, Teddy, if you can get us.
Yeah, we can get those exact billboards. I know one is, I can tell you one, these are both digital, obviously, and one is at 295 in Wells right there. And I'll double check the other one. I believe it's in South Jacksonville, but I'll double check on that other one.
Is it one of those that rotate?
Yeah, it rotates on a time basis. Yep.
Nice, very nice. Kyle, another question that I had, just
Yeah.
creative thinking here. I don't like to bring an umbrella to a brainstorm. So the sports tourism video, once your company creates that, does that become like our property?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So, for instance, I'm thinking with our partnership with Airstream, as they're out at shows and stuff like that, it would give them a tool,
So
You're exactly correct, Commissioner, and that's something that Teddy and I have talked about as we've been kind of gearing up for this, is we want it to be able to serve multiple purposes. And it can't just be something for, the website, but it's also something that they can use to sort of like get people to say, hey, I need to look at Clay County for my next tournament. So you're thinking exactly where we are.
Great.
yeah, and to piggyback off of Kyle's comments, there's one on the website. Brian Sexton did the lead in. He's on there. We're currently in conversations to get ET, who's a local Clay County guy, is on 1010XL. He does a lot of good voiceover work. And then we're lining it up so it becomes like a sales piece, right? And then the other option is that we can also use the B-roll from those for other videos with other types of marketing. Because, you look at the grants, you look at the things we host here, there's a lot of diversity in the events. So the video will be a great asset, and then the B-roll from that video will help us in a lot of other ways too. So.
Great. Very good. All right. Any other questions for Kyle from anybody? All right, Kyle, thanks again, my man.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
All right, so we're going on to item number 3, which is our Airstream Ventures Sports Tourism Update. Mr. Verlander.
Good afternoon, everybody. I've got Josh Zinner here with me, who's our Director of Operations. So been a busy May. We went to Las Vegas and speaking of conferences, went to the Sports ETA conference. Well, there we go. So as a reminder, these are all the different conferences that we will go to. We just got back from Vegas, as I said, and I'll go through that just to kind of give you an example of what we do at these conferences. I think that would be very beneficial. The Florida Sports Foundation, so all the sports commissions from around the state of Florida get together. The Florida Sports Foundation's in a little crux, and they've been a little late in getting everything out, but they finally did, and so it's going to be at the IMG Academy in Bradenton. They will have about 30 event planners there. We've had some success with that. So JR and Brooke from our team will go to that, and hopefully, we'll represent Clay County very well, and hopefully maybe get some more events as well. And then Virginia Beach and Punta Gorda is the U.S. Sports Congress. So a busy time with conferences like some of your businesses as well. So going back April 21st through 23rd, JR and I attended the Sports ETA conference representing Clay County. It was one of the bigger ones they've ever had. About 800 communities from around the country were represented. They had about 400 event planners. So it's everybody from USA Track and Field, USA Volleyball, to literally just a mom and pop chess organization. So it's everybody in between that is looking to sell events. You meet for 10 minutes with everybody, speed dating rounds and all this kind of stuff. And then those that have gone to conferences, a lot of the work really gets done after hours and all that kind of stuff, right? So based on all of the different events that we had, these were the ones that basically said, we need to go to the next step with Clay County. And so it's interesting because Teddy and I talked earlier today, Kayak Bass Fishing Team Series, they're based out of Georgia. They really want to come here. And so based on that billboard, you talk about synergies there. And they're 2-person kayak teams. They come, they fish for 4 days, and it's like a Bassmasters thing, but they're not necessarily bass. They do all different types of species. So that's a huge thing that we're looking at that we'll bring back to you the next meeting. And then you can kind of see all of these are going to be in our report next. But a lot of these that really worked well, that specifically when we sat down with them, a lot of them said, tell us about Clay County. So the one I do want to point out is the NAIA Collegiate Golf Championship. So we've gotten to know those guys really well. The VP of their championship placements has become a good friend. Their golf tournament right now, the men's is in Minnesota, the women's is in California. A lot of times because NAIA schools are smaller by nature, the golf coaches the men's and women's. So they're going from 1 week from Minnesota to the next week to California, a lot of money. They're trying to find a place where they could do it 2 straight weeks. So I was telling them about Eagle Harbor. they want to come here or they want to do a site visit, they would like to be in Florida. Anyway, so we've got to talk to the golf course and make sure that for 2 straight weeks, but could be a really cool thing to host their national championships here. So a lot of great stuff coming out of that. The one team travel source, I don't know, Kim or Kevin, have y'all worked with them much from a hotel standpoint? Have you heard much about them? Okay. I don't know if there's good, bad, indifferent. We had really good meetings with them. They run about 52 different events that the event actually hires them to place the event. So I may want to connect with you on that if you're familiar with them. We had really good meetings with them. So anyway, so this is just kind of our lineup card as you're used to seeing, but we've had some really good events so far, 5 events. And then you see the events coming up that have been booked. I know the Freeburg Flag, I think he's here, so he has a grant in front of you, which will be an exciting event as well. But we've got a lot of events already booked, and then a lot of advanced conversations are happening. As you can see, the NCAA portal is about to open for their championships for 28, 29, 30, 31. So we will be working with Teddy and the staff on looking at the different ones that we can host. We don't have a lot of facilities per se, but we do have for like cross countries and rifle and potentially even bowling and stuff like that. So anyway, so you can see some of these. The ones I want to highlight are Street Outlaws drag racing. For those of you that have seen Street Outlaws on the Discovery Network, they reached out to actually us about another city, and I quickly pivoted and said, nope, we're going to Clay on this. We can go out to Reynolds. So Teddy and I have met with Ted out there. It's really now in their hands to decide, do they want this? But it would be a nationally televised event. It would bring in probably 4,000 to 5,000 people into our area. This would be in 27. In November of 27. Brett, the director of it, actually just called me a few minutes ago, so I'll call him back on my way home. But it could be an awesome event. Game On Triathlon is exactly what that is. I think Teddy had worked with them in the past. We've connected with them, and so we're trying to put that together. Those that were here a few years ago, Pro Watercross is going to come back in 27. We just have to solidify the dates. 5v5 soccer. We know there's been a change a little bit in the soccer landscape here, and so they're trying to close out that date. The Kansas City Barbecue Society wants to do an event here, but it really marries with another event, so we've got to figure out what event that would be to marry that. UFFL is actually now booked, so since we've turned that in, that's actually now on the books. So that's another one that is booked. Grad Games, the JV, FHSAA Lacrosse, they're coming here next year in 27. Will probably be at the end of March for that event. Minor league golf. So those we've held a minor league golf event. Scott loves Clay County. He wants to do a second event. Teddy and I connected him with Oakleaf Plantation. They had a great conversation. They're going to replace 6 of their greens next week. So assuming those greens come and look well and progress well in a state that should be able to grow grass, we'll host a second event here. So we'll have 2 pro golf events here in Clay, which will be awesome. And then some of these others, they're talking Inspire Dance, which has a grant in front of you now. They would love to bring a second event here, which is always a good event for us. And then Southern Pickleball, Josh was actually going over to the hub on his way here and to visit with the person that is now no longer with the hub. And so we'll change up, but they want to bring a big pickleball event here as well. So anyway, you can see pickleball is becoming a big thing. And then some of these others, we are having really good conversations. Going back to the sports ETA, you can see some of these, the Pylon 7v7. They're just wanting dates right now. Victory Lacrosse is a huge lacrosse organization coming out of Pennsylvania. They wanted to be in Florida. Perfect timing, and so we're trying to work on dates with that. They run big events. The big thing with that is they run 80 to 100 team events. So just, I know there's a robust parking plan being developed. So we've talked to them about that. The other thing is MotoSurf. For those that remember MotoSurf here a few years ago, there's now through the American Powerboat Association, they're forming their own MotoSurf event. That MotoSurf that we used to work with Martin and everything, they're now more overseas. So they're now creating the APBA is creating a national USA type MotoSurf. And so we're looking at that for Keystone Heights. So a lot of conversations, several booked. So we feel good about this momentum that we're building. All of these things from a marketing perspective would greatly help. But overall, really good activity. And then this is just, we're very transparent about everything that we do. So we actually have 11 booked, but at the time this was turned in, it was 10. And so, but these are actual what has transpired. And so you can kind of see the numbers and where we are. So that actually total value should be 403, not the 314. But anyway, we'll hit those numbers. We'll meet our goals with everything that we've got, and it should be a good, really good first year, And so, any questions?
Questions for Alan? I have a couple comments. So one, I think this is good news, and Teddy remind me, but I've through the chain here, I've seen that I think the nets are going up out there, right?
Yeah, we're trending with Burbank the first and second week of July
Okay, for install?
for install. Yeah,
Yeah, for the lacrosse
Yeah.
nets.
fields 1 through 5.
Right, good. And then just for everyone's reference, and I don't know if you've heard this or not, but in my other role as a high school athletic director, so the Florida High School Athletic Association has put out a survey to all the athletic directors in the state about schools' interest in making pickleball a sanctioned high school sport. So they're getting a lot of what I would say positive pressure from kids and parents that they really want it to be a state championship style sport. So if that happens, hopefully we can make it happen at the hub. So
Well, and I do know from an FHSA perspective, they're looking to really move the lacrosse championships, which just transpired last weekend.
where are they now?
It's in Naples.
Naples, yeah.
And so, we've had very preliminary conversations about, obviously it's got to be in the state of Florida, but here they love the complex, but they do need a stadium type field. But where they play now is the coaches are kind of beginning to revolt, and they want to play somewhere else. So we're going to have some conversations with them on that maybe you could have practices at the sports complex, but play somewhere else.
Yeah, there you go. Cool. Yeah, exactly. Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Alan.
Thank y'all.
Moving on to agenda item number 4, our bed tax collection data. Teddy Meyer.
So just to do an overview for bed tax, you'll notice we've had a great start, first of all, to the calendar year. And then you'll notice also in April, which again, you're going to go back 30 days before that, that's the highest bed tax that the county's collected on record at plus 200,000. So, the questions are, how do we get there? How do we stay there, right? I think it's a combination of the new hotel in Middleburg, right? It's 130 rooms, right? So that's significantly larger than some of our other hotels. You would also say the marketing is working to some extent, and then you would also say things are more expensive. So the revenues and the cost of things are more. So obviously that's going to drive things up. But at the same time, we'll take it all day long, obviously. So it's great. The next slide, which we don't have to do yet, but it'll go into some of the comparables of other counties near us, and you'll notice that we're doing fairly well compared to them. We can check the next slide. So you can kind of see there's a lot more on the positive side for us and a lot more on the neutral or negative side for some of the comparables. We also added Nassau and Flagler, probably more to give you like a North Florida feel. We haven't had those on there before. Obviously, Nassau with Amelia can be a little bit different in both application and context, but it's great to have a little bit more of a wider comparable for North Florida, since we do that with a lot of other different agencies and groups. But again, you'll see the ADR, the revenue, the rooms sold, you know, we in a good spot. And so hopefully we continue to trend the same way. But again, great month, and we'll see what happens. We can have another update for September. Any questions on that, or comments maybe from the accommodations or?
Down a little, so we're actually, it's that other hotel.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, that's what
Yeah.
it's more
Mhm.
hotels
Yeah.
contributing.
And that hotel's 129 rooms for reference, so the average is about 89 to 90. So that's significant. So.
Any other questions?
Good, and Cher's gonna go over the dashboard.
Great.
So last meeting, we introduced this dashboard to you that you can use as a tool in your tourism advocacy efforts. And you all made some suggestions that we implemented. Commissioner Scarola, you wanted a tourism fast fact, and we got that on there. We also incorporated the STAR report numbers, that occupancy, RevPAR, in that top right corner up there with a summary. You can see our campaigns, and then an addition that we did under that section is the placer report data, so that you can see year over year placer report data from the first quarter in 2026 compared to first quarter of 2025. And again, our recent additions to our communities, we have all of our local businesses that we've been tracking in the first quarter that are new, and then finally all of the community events. And you'll have a QR code that you can scan and see an updated list on our events calendar. So again, this is just an overview of everything that you'll see in this meeting, but just want you guys to have it for your efforts as well.
Yeah, this is great. I think the fast fact, that's very interesting. I think most Clay County residents wouldn't know that in 2025, more than $103 million was spent in tourism, which is great. It's such a tremendous, I think people don't understand that impacts gas stations and restaurants and our economic development as a whole. So very good. Any other comments? All right. Very good. Thank you very much. You good, Teddy, on that? Okay. All right, so we're going to move on to our discussion part of the agenda. So Brian Knight, unfortunately, termed out of his Tourist Development Council seat, and he was our vice chair. So kind of a point of order, we have to re-nominate and select a vice chairman. So I'm going to go ahead and open the floor for nominations, if anyone would like to nominate someone to be vice chair. It's not too big of a job. You just got to sit here if I'm not here.
You plan on not being here?
I'll try to be here every time.
Are you nominating me? Sure, if I can be here.
You gonna make a nomination? Go for it.
I make a nomination for Miss Kim.
All right.
She's gonna kill me later.
We have a nomination
I'll
for Ms.
second
Kim. We have a second. All right. So we have a nomination and a second. Do we have any more nominations? Hearing none, I'll close the nominations. And then, so Ms. Kim, Vice Chair, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, Vice Chairman. And you're already in the right seat.
You make sure
Yeah.
you're here.
Congratulations. All right, so the next portion, this is for Brian's seat, correct? As citizen?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Citizen appointment.
So the next portion of our meeting, with Brian's term ending, we now have an open seat on the Tourism Development Council. And we opened applications, and we received an overwhelming response from the community. with some very qualified individuals. And I believe two of them, I see Michael out there, I see Michelle. Is Sandra or Cecile here? Sandra's here? Okay, awesome. Hi, Sandra. So I'd like to give you the opportunity to come up and address the, you don't have to, but if you'd like to come up and tell us about yourself, you're more than welcome to do so. Michael, did you want to? You don't have to. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you guys came and that's awesome.
By surprise.
Sorry.
That's all right. Mike Folker. I'm trying to think where I start here. So, born and raised Floridian. Parents were raised in Florida, born in Florida. So the past history has been mostly Gulf Coast and Key West. That's where my parents are from. We've been in restaurants, bars, and hotels, or I should say motels along Clearwater area for years, kind of. That's where I grew up. Came over here with my brother about a decade ago.
Mike, can you just hold the mic a little closer? There we go. Perfect, thanks.
Came over here about a decade ago, and I've been involved, put together a charity for youth sports, have been a coach in football and lacrosse here, moved into commissioner role for lacrosse for the rec league, and then I've been announcing games as a volunteer for middle school, for high school, for the post-grad program, for the former, we'll call it semi-pro football team that used to be here in Jacksonville, the Falcons. And so I've been involved heavily in kind of the sports area. And currently work in IT. I've been at the same company for the last 10 years here. That's
Awesome.
what I have.
Thank you very much. Thank you for applying. Sandra, did you want to come up? You're good. Thank you very much. We appreciate you applying as well. Michelle, do you want to?
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. I'm Michelle Riley, and moved here about 16 years ago from Maine. I am currently employed with South State Bank as a vice president branch manager. Also been nominated as a community development advocate for Northeast Florida of South State Bank. Very active in our community through Rotary and the Clay County Chamber of Commerce, served as treasurer, both capacities. Travel and tourism is new and exciting for Clay County, and I would love nothing more than to play a very small role in that. So,
Thank you, Michelle.
thank you.
And I don't believe Cecile was able to make it today. That's fine. But her application is in your backup as well. So to appoint our next member of the TDC, kind of like the vice chairman, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and open the floor for nominations.
I'll nominate Michael Folker.
All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Any other nominations? All right. Hearing none, I'm going to close the nominations. So the nomination was for Michael Folker. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Congratulations, sir. Teddy, when will he start?
So you would start with a September meeting.
The next meeting,
Obviously, has to
okay.
go to the BCC and then
Okay.
our next meeting here. yeah.
Okay, awesome. And then staff will be in contact with you. Congratulations. Also, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone that applied. All four of you are extremely very valuable to our community, and we really appreciate your civic engagement and involvement in our process. So thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item number 7 is going to be our event marketing grant update.
Sorry about that. Okay, so because we do not have a meeting in July, this could potentially be the rest of the grants, including the ones that are coming tonight for an application. This could very much well be it for the rest of the year. We do have a few more grants that have been paid out since this was printed. So we're looking pretty good on that. So we can go to the next slide. So we have 5 grants coming tonight. We have Seamark Rodeo at the Ranch, Moose Haven 4th of July, Ignite's coming, Freebird 7-on-7 class or tournament, and then the Katafe Rodeo is coming as well. So the full requests are here. If you guys do go with the full amount, we will still have a remaining 13,000. That's if we have any last minute events coming in September, but it's not very likely. We don't have anybody on the books yet. But as of right now, remaining, we have $80,500. If the full amount goes today, then we'll have 13,000 remaining, plus the variances left from the grants that have been paid out.
Stephanie, do you know off the top of your head, or I guess it's a two-part question. The first question is, how long do we wait before we, I hate to use the term cut our losses, but in terms of, let's say someone does a grant for 25,000, they only turn in 20,000 of receipts. What's that runway usually look like as far as when you guys tell them, hey, this is your deadline? How does that work?
So they have 60 days post-event to turn in their post-event report and all of their documentation to go along with that. Our great grants team goes to that compliance. They do give them a little leeway. If we have to extend the application, then legal steps in and they'll extend their agreement, the whole process, but it's normally 60 days. And then they actually give us one final invoice. So if they know that they're only gonna have $20,000, but they had a grant for 25,000, then they'll submit an invoice for the 20,000, and then the 5 just kind of sits. So you can see that with the BNA Youth Flag Football event. They had a grant for $12,500, and we paid them about $8,000.
Got it.
So that $4,500 variance is there, but that's still sitting in the grant fund. So just because it says we have $80,000 remaining, we actually have more than that because there is a variance there.
So both of these variances, the 4,500 with BNA and then the almost 10 grand with pickleball, those would be above and beyond the 85.
Yes, that would
Okay.
be in addition to that remaining $13,000.
Perfect. Very nice. Okay.
And just to understand the process, these do get approved, and we've got 13,000 remaining, we still have reserve that we could move over into this, correct?
Yes. So say if someone did come in
Yeah, right,
September and
another
they
event.
had this great event happening at the end of the month, we could,
It's not gonna
You guys
prevent
could
us from
approve it.
taking another event.
right.
Thanks.
Yeah, and obviously for reference, our meeting September 4th, you'd have 2.5 weeks to have an event, right? And so the September ones really are the grants for the next fiscal year pending the budget approval by the BCC. Traditionally, it's how it happens, so. But yeah, there is a chance that someone could have something mid or late September that we could have a vote on, but highly doubtful, so.
Any other comments on that? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was gonna see if there are any more questions or comments.
Madam Vice Chair.
I was just kind of thinking back to Alan's thing. You know, he has so many in conversation for 2026. That's in the year for the year. So it's like, are those really going to happen? Because we're almost in June. So, you know, and then what does it take out of here? So, I mean, I think we got to put that together, right? Like, are those real that Alan's talking about in advanced conversation in the year for the year? And then what would it take to get, you know, I just think we got to compare those two and know what it might take.
The one thing I would add to that is a lot of these conversations are obviously contingent on a lot of different things, field availability, facility, their schedule, their other events they're hosting. So traditionally, you're gonna find most of these would probably, and Alan can maybe come back up, but you're gonna be post-October anyways. So more than likely, you're looking at the next fiscal year, yeah. And so the variance will be the variance, and obviously, if we don't spend it, it goes back to reserves for the record. But, you know, you can kind of address some of
And or they just don't need a grant, right? So some of these people just, they're doing well, they just want to pay the fee and we get the benefit from that. So, but a lot of them are, September's not traditionally a great event month because everybody's gone back to school. And so a lot of the event planners want to rest from the fall. So typically September's slower. You got a lot of high school sports starting and all that, and then stuff picks up back up in October.
You good? Okay. Before we move, are you good? Okay, great. Before we move on, one thing I just want to say is I want to commend Teddy and the team. You know, in the past year, you guys have really, we increased our grant contributions, and I think what that has done is it's really putting our foot on the gas to bring in bigger events, more impactful events, and I'm just hoping the word continues to spread that Clay's the place to be.
Yeah, and I'll kind of speak to that. First of all, I appreciate that. Staff does a great job. But one of the interesting things that Alan referenced was like the street outlaws, at Reynolds Park, and like thinking outside the box. The other thing too, like Game On Triathlon, right? The conversation with them is possibly having a half marathon in Green Cove around Spring Park. So the other thing we're trying to do is, if you look at the grants and what we give away, there's diversity in the offerings of what they actually are in the genre of what they do. The other piece is we're trying to find diversity in our facilities in Clay. It's not always the regional. It's not always the fairgrounds. Like, we have to be forward thinking that way. If not, you're going to continue to have the same ones. And so the Game On Triathlon is a great example. We met with them at Spring Park. They loved the park. And they were like, well, we can't really jump off the dock because it's only 4 feet. And that would be a bit tricky. And then we can't get back up. But they were like, what about a half marathon? They love the streets. They love the atmosphere. So they landed on that. And we're looking at them for late April of next year. Tremendous event. It's a small window and like a Saturday morning. So again, speaking to that diversity of events and grants, yeah.
Nice. Very good. Cool. All right. So we're going to move on to our grant requests. We're going to start with number 8, which is the rodeo.
So this is a recurring event, but because they did so well last year, they've actually decided to add a little bit more to it. This is the J.C. Catave Rodeo. They're based out of Mississippi. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here tonight because of the schedule change. So they did provide me with a video and then some talking points. But before I get into those, I just kind of want to go over their application. So this year it is going to be Labor Day weekend. It is 2026. My fault, sorry. So they are expecting room nights. This is kind of a low guesstimate right now, 185 rooms over 2 nights. Their venue rental, they're going to be at the fairgrounds, the Clay County Fairgrounds. So their venue rental, they're expecting over $10,000. It is a multi-day event, so they qualify for the $2,500, and it is during a need period, so they qualify for that $2,500 as well. They are requesting $25,000, the full amount from the TDC. Our recommendation based on their application score is $22,400. So let me go ahead and show you the video that they submitted. Give me...
Ladies and gentlemen, for the thousands in attendance here at ringside and the millions watching around the world on television, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's get ready to rumble! Getting late, I haven't seen my dates, so tell me when the boys get here. 7 o'clock and I wanna rock, wanna get a belly full of beer. My old man's drunker than a bottle full of winos, and his old lady, she don't care. Sister's looking cute in her braces and boots, and a handful of grease in her hair. Don't give us none of your aggravation. We've had it with your discipline. Saturday night's alright for fighting. Get a little action in. Get up out of soil, not the beat on train.
Okay, so the majority of those, my apologies, the majority of that video was from the rodeo last year here in Clay County at the fairgrounds. So those scenes look familiar, that's why. So this year, like I said, they are extending it. They're going to be doing a festival as well. So the festival is going to be on September 6th. They're going to hold multiple performances, so not just one rodeo. There's going to be they're looking at doing 3 over the 4th, 5th, and 6th. And that, again, this is tentative. They're still kind of trying to figure stuff out. the festival is going to be vendors, food trucks, activities for kids. There's going to be live music, Western lifestyle vendors. They're going to have mechanical bowls, roping, interactive stations, pony rides, and line dancing. It's going to be kind of a center court for the live entertainment, and all the vendors and food trucks are going to be around that. There's going to be the cap seating just like they did before. The first year they held this event, it did sell out. Last year, it was very close to capacity, but it wasn't sold out, but they are extending to a third day this year. The rodeo has brought a six-figure economic impact to the county, and then they're expecting to exceed that with the larger festival and event. Okay, so those are kind of the points that they gave me to speak on. And then I also included last year's placer report for your review. And this placer report is for the visitors outside of 50 miles. So the rodeo last year brought in over 12,000 people. Visitors outside of 50 miles, there's 573 with a 280-minute dwell time. And then you can also see where they visited before and after. So there's going to be restaurants on there. You can see one of the top hotels on there. You can see the zip codes that they came from. Looks like the Holiday Inn Express Fleming Island was their popular hotel. And then you can kind of see their before and after traffic there. And then also their traffic routes on the last page. So again, they are requesting $25,000 for this year's event. Do you guys have any questions with the placer report or anything from their application that I can answer for you?
Did you obtain the total room nights that they produced for last year?
It should be on, oh, actually, that was last year. I don't have it on me, but I can get that to you.
And did we give them the full last year?
Yes, last year they got the full amount, but they didn't submit the full amount for reimbursement. I believe it was 22 or something around that number. It wasn't the full 25 though.
Okay. I had another question and it's like, I lost it.
It's okay. If you remember, come back to it. Yeah, I went to this. It was awesome. It was, the arena was packed. It was really, really good. Was last year, it was just one night though, correct?
Last year was 2 nights. It was Friday night,
Friday,
Saturday.
Saturday,
This
that's
year
right.
it's over Labor Day weekend, so it's going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But I think they're focusing more on Saturday, Sunday. But they have the reservation for the whole weekend. They're still kind of ironing out the details.
Yeah. Would the market vibe thing, that's before the rodeo both days, or is it the day before?
So I think the festival is just the day before. It says festival September 6th, and that's going to be during the day. And then there's going to be a rodeo that night, and then
Okay.
another rodeo.
Yeah.
But that could change. That's still just kind of the tentative plans for right now. They haven't done this before in any of their locations. They did just host the Ancient City Rodeo in St. Augustine, but it didn't have the same like festival part of it.
For anybody watching though, it's super entertaining. The rodeo clown is hilarious. He's got a microphone. So in between events, there's like, they activate the kids, they get people out of the crowd. It's great. It's a lot of fun. Really, it's good.
So this year we're saying the 4th, 5th, and 6th?
Yes, ma'am. That's their reservations for the 4th, 5th, and 6th. They're still kind of ironing out exactly what days they're going to do what.
Okay. And last year was only a 2-day.
Yes, ma'am. It was in September last year, September 12th and 13th.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion for the grant.
I'll motion to approve the $22,400 for the Clay County Pro Rodeo.
We have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Stephanie, one question I have is, do you think, with just such a large event, I mean, I want to make sure they have what they need. That you said they did not turn in the full amount last year?
Correct. They did not turn in the full amount last
Okay.
year. But that was the first year that they received a grant.
Okay.
So it was kind of new for them, and there were some things that they weren't expecting. They had receipts for more than 25, but they didn't all qualify for
Got
the
it,
grant.
got it, okay. Well, if they're watching from back home in Mississippi, make sure you max that baby out and we'll be able to give you more.
Yeah, they're looking at no spoiler alerts or anything, but they're looking at some pretty good live events, some live music events.
Oh, cool. Oh, nice. Yeah, great. All right, any further discussion? All right, so we have a motion and a second to award the application amount. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Carries unanimously. All right, looking forward to it. Moving on to number 9 is our grant request for Ignite Dance Competition.
Okay, so Ignite is another returning event. This is not to be confused with Inspire Dance. They are two separate companies. So this is actually a national event. They do host 2 of them in Jacksonville. This is the second one. They were a little late to the party for the first one, and they are very happy to receive one for the second one. So these dates are June 24th and 25th of 2026, and it's going to be at the Thrasher Horn Center. This is a national event, so it's bringing in dancers from all over. They're looking at 40 room nights over 5 nights, so 200 room nights gives them the $4,000. It's Thrasher, so their venue rental is going to exceed $10,000. It is a multi-day event, and it is during need period. They applied for the full amount. I'm sorry, not for the full amount. For $19,000, that's what their application score we recommend. They did also provide a video. She can't be here tonight. I'm sorry. They're based out of Georgia. So again, with the mix-up, they are not able to attend. So let me go ahead and get that video for you. Ignite Dance Competition is excited to host our nationals in Jacksonville, Florida on June 25th through 28th. We've been proud to host our event in Clay County for the past 3 years. This event brings together over 30 studios from across the East Coast and over 400 dancers and their families for 5 days of nonstop fun. At Ignite, our motto is where competition builds community. Building community is on the forefront of everything we do at Nationals, creating an unforgettable experience for dancers and families. Aside from creating an environment where dancers can perform, learn, and grow, we offer several fun additions to our national event. Our national opening number brings together more than 100 dancers from studios across the country, creating one powerful performance choreographed by an industry professional. Graduating seniors can apply for the Ignite Senior Scholarship, helping support their next chapter in college or conservatory training. Only at Ignite Nationals, dancers can step outside their comfort zone in our exclusive improv competition, where creativity and confidence take center stage. Every day brings new energy with exciting theme days, where one standout studio earns a $100 donation to the charity of their choice. And every soloist is automatically entered into our Dancer of the Year title competition, with winners receiving scholarships to future Ignite conventions. We close the week with the Challenge of the Champions, where the top 5 group routines in each age division return to the stage for one final showdown to compete for the championship title. From performances to friendships, from the stage to the memories, Ignite Nationals is more than a competition, but an opportunity to build community. We would love to be considered for the 2026 Clay County Sports Grant to help us continue to bring memorable experiences to dancers and families.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so that was a video from Ignite, and again, they are requesting $19,000 in an event marketing grant. Were there any questions on their application?
That we gave them last year?
Last year, I think it was more than 10 because it was, I think we're thinking of Ignite. We gave Ignite $13,500 for both of their events, but theirs was a regional event. Right, Inspire. So again, a national event, and they're expecting more dancers, and this is over 5 nights. This is the second of 2026. They hosted one in May as well. Or, I'm sorry, March, and then March.
How much did they didn't do a grant in March?
They did not apply for a grant in March.
Okay.
But we've had them last year.
They didn't apply last year, it was the year before that.
Okay, gosh, time flies.
Not to make you look back 2 years ago, but did they turn in everything for the 2 years ago?
Yes, they got the full amount. Their full reimbursement is basically the venue rental for.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Go ahead.
b- You know, the venue rental is 10,000. I'm sure over 5 nights, that's probably a good rate. But I just want to, you know, kind of bring to the attention that we do fund 200,000 a year to the Thrasher Horn, and then we get hit with this extra when they have events. It's kind of like we're double paying. So at some point, I think one's got to give, not be both. And I'm not sure what the 200,000 actually covers.
So for the record, we give the Thrasher 125,000 based on the original contracts, from 99, I believe. And then the money, we've given them 125 roughly from, 2002 up until now. So, that is an allocation yearly, based on the original agreement. With the Thrasher, there was, somewhere in the 1.5 to 1.7 startup for the facility and those kind of things. So, to answer your question, that's correct. They are giving venue rental to this group. We also, as a TDC, give that money, yearly to Thrasher.
One thing that may be good, Teddy, not to put you on the spot, do you know when the contract renewal is for that?
So it's a 2-year renewal. It renews again September of this year.
Kevin, through the same vein, one thing that I'd probably like to see is maybe reach out to the Thrasher and at our September meeting, maybe, if they can come and maybe present and talk about how that money impacts them. Through my experiences, I mean, they are trying to continually improve their facility, right, to make sure that it's a relevant site to hold events, that they have the correct equipment. I think I remember Bob Olson saying that they were redoing all their flooring, to get it, up to date and those types of things. So, but I agree with you. You get to a point where you're like, geez, you're stacking. So I get it. But I think if we knew more of where, what they're putting it towards, it might give us some more clarity.
Yeah, and I think on the Thrasher side, we can definitely reach out. I think that's a great idea to have them come in September and kind of give an update. From their perspective too, obviously a venue, large venue. The other part of the contract, which isn't really explicitly aware, is that the county does reap benefits of X amount of events a year at the facility. And I don't have the exact number on me. I believe it's 5 to 7 possibly, and different things like the purchasing. There are different groups that use that with the contract. So I can get those specifics if you guys need them. But that gives you an idea that it does come out of TDC, but there are other repercussions from that. That's not just like, hey, we give them a check. There are in-kind things that we do receive on an annual basis with that contract.
Yeah, and I think, the dance groups are great. I think we get room nights from them. We generate, taxes on those groups. So I think the multi-night groups for the dance groups are fine. I think, they've also gone to the one-night type events that don't really benefit the rest of the county, but yeah, we
In
can
this
talk about
case,
that. in
5
September.
nights is awesome. Yeah.
So
I do like the dance groups.
So yeah, if the board would like, we'll reach out to Bob Olson and talk about the September date as an option for a presentation and update for you guys, for sure.
Consensus, that's a good idea?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. The second kind of question I had, and it's kind of a 50,000-foot question, I might have asked this previously. Do we have any way to work with our hoteliers to get that exact number of when a guest comes to an event, let's say they're going to the Ignite dance competition, do we have a way of tracking, yes, they stayed at these hotels, yes, here's that total number?
So room blocks are a big piece of that. Some of the other ways to do it would be with some of these events is to make things more mandatory on the registration piece. And we can do that. To the point, obviously Grants is in the room. That's what they're looking more for as well. So you guys aren't the only group. So, but yeah, we can work through both of those at the discretion of the board, obviously.
Yes, all you have to do is ask. And I think if you, I ask about the group blocks and what you achieved in that, but also I would say, what was your occupancy in ADR? Because there may be some rooms that booked outside of the group, and we'll be able to see that through year over year,
they'll book out on OTAs. It's
Yeah.
hard to, that's always been the challenge, right? But if you send it out and we'll give it to you.
Yeah.
That's not a problem.
We can do that as well.
Yeah, I'm just throwing this out there because I'm kind of going through it right now with our baseball team going to state tomorrow. We play down there, and when we're essentially participating in a tourism event, right? And then they reached out to us as a participant and said, "Hey, talk to this person. This person will get you set up with the hotels." But they have all that data because they're facilitating it, right?
Yeah.
So, and obviously, our tourism team isn't 40 people large, right? But I think as we continue to kind of make these data-driven decisions to kind of move the ball down the court, that's something I'd like to see us get to, is where when you're getting a grant, we're gonna know for sure that we got those room nights and hopefully come up with that process of facilitating, being a good host as much as we can as a team, right? With all of our hotels and our tourism staff and the whole thing. So then they say, "Hey, going to Clay County was awesome. They rolled out the red carpet for us," that kind of thing.
So, and the other thing we can do on the staff end is look at possibly even like a one-pager for you guys with previous amounts they've been given, and then placer data with some of that. That may give you even more of like a cheat sheet rather than diving too deep in the application. So it's like, I don't want to give too much supporting documents, but maybe there's a way that we can kind of one page last 2 years, last 3 years. If Ignite came 2 years ago, that would be beneficial rather than, a zeroed out or something. And then some placer data and possibly some other hotel room stuff that is easy and short and concise for you guys as well. We can do that.
I like it. Okay. Any other discussion? Go ahead.
Where are they coming from? Is it Georgia?
I think.
Their company is based out of Georgia, but the dancers come from all over the eastern coast.
Much
I have
rather them come to
their-
Clay than Orlando or, where they always
Right.
provide.
Right. All right, I'll entertain a motion for the grant request.
Chair, I make a motion that we award the full 19,000 to the Ignite.
All right. Motion for the full amount. Do we have a second?
I second.
And a second. With no further discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Item number 10 is the Freebird Classic, and we got Coach here with us as well. Stephanie, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is a new event to the county. It is going to be held at the Regional Sports Complex, July 16th and 17th. And I did want to point out that this is a weekday event, so the room nights are going to be during the week, not on the weekends. They are looking at right now 100 room nights over the one night, so $2,000 there. The venue rental, they're requesting the $10,000. It is a multi-day event, and it is happening during a need period. We have Jeff here from Clay County High School, and he is here to answer any questions that you guys might have.
Coach, thanks for joining us. Tell us, just for the council, tell us about 7-on-7 and how that plays into the high school football world.
Well, thank you for having me. This has become a big kind of travel summer activity over the past, 4 or 5 years, but really the past decade. But if you're not doing 7-on-7 during the summer, you're behind. Your kids will transfer to another school. You have to have flashy uniforms. You have to be able to go to these different events. And so typically the Jaguars host a big summer event for the boys, and it's free. Well, with their construction, they're not doing it this year or next year. They're actually doing it in Fort Walton Beach, and they're doing another satellite one. So it's a great opportunity for us to take over that space that they normally have and create our own thing. I've gone to these in Tennessee, Alabama, all over Florida. People will come. And the girls' side has gotten so big, so quick. No one's ever done something like this in Northeast Florida besides the Jaguars with their invitational at the beginning of the year as far as summer tournaments. We have a great facility over there on Blanding. Plenty of field space to throw a proper event. Ideally, if we can get this going, I want to fashion it after the Hoover Invitational, which is a national invitational tournament outside of Birmingham, Alabama. And it is gigantic. It's a week-long event. They have middle school up through a high school elite, guys that play in the NFL, have been in that tournament. Like you kind of don't go unless you have a bunch of Division I guys. That is the kind of elite tournament I want this to become, but you got to start somewhere. And then with the girls, no one's doing this. This is a perfect opportunity to make something big and tie them together. And then maybe eventually, they are starting middle school 7-on-7. I just talked to Christina Thompson about they're trying to organize a 7-on-7 league for the 8th graders and 7th graders at the junior highs. They got it in St. Johns County. And that's the other thing with the Silverleaf facility that's coming. If we don't jump on this, someone's going to jump on those fields. So if we've already staked our claim, they're going to be behind. If we have a top-notch event, do it right, do it the way it's supposed to be done. Like I said, I've been to these in Foley, Alabama, in Birmingham, Alabama, in Orlando, in Knoxville, Tennessee. I know how they're supposed to be run. I've already put a bunch of feelers out. We got a website ready to be launched. I wanted to wait till this meeting to really get it out there. Been talking to the hotels about getting blocks. There seems to be a lot of excitement in Georgia on the girls' side because they want to come down and play Florida teams because we kind of started the girls' flag football movement. So they kind of want to test their mettle against our girls. So potentially have a lot more outside of the Northeast Florida, as far as the room nights coming just for the girls' tournament. And again, that could take off. That could be a huge thing. I'm hoping for 24 teams this year. It could be 50 the following year if we do this thing right. And then the boys, again, there's this vacuum that's going to be there in July because the Jaguars aren't going to be here. There's not going to be a lot of people that are going to go to Fort Walton Beach for it. So we're going to get all, corners of Northeast Florida, but we'll also get the outskirts of Alachua, Marion, Brevard, Volusia, and some of those teams will be coming to stay overnight. So, again, we're asking for the grant because the most expensive thing is referees. The worst thing you can do is have a bunch of coaches out there doing the referees. You're going to get a bunch of complaints. So the FHA sanctioned refs, they're not cheap, but if we're going to do it, we want to do it right. So that's the main part of this grant is those guys charge an arm and a leg to referee anything. And then we're going to have to probably bring in portalets. The bathroom facilities probably aren't going to be enough if we have upwards of 24 teams. And then we want to do some proper marketing, insurance, obviously, and those sorts of things. So that's what the request is for. Any questions?
Coach, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Being that the stadium is closed, this is the first year you're doing it. Do you foresee this being an ongoing thing?
Yes, absolutely. It's with the Jaguars, it's free, but it's only for Duval County teams, and they kind of those teams always get to go, but they have a cap on what they can do with it. And so you kind of rotate the Clay, St. John's, Nassau teams, and you don't always get to go. And then, obviously, if you're bringing teams from outside Northeast Florida, you're going to bring in, Pensacola, Tallahassee, Brevard teams. There's going to be, again, there's teams that they'll go to 10 7-on-7s in a summer. That's kind of what they do. They've got it lined up all summer long. So, yes, will some of the teams in Northeast Florida not want to come? Possibly when the Jaguars bring theirs back, but we're not going to compete for the same weekend. They usually do theirs that first weekend after July 4th. So I specifically wanted to do this right kind of a week before we start fall practice, which is always the end of July, beginning of August. So we've got a little bit of time before we start actual football. And then tying it in, naming it the Freebird, kind of tying into 4th of July. Also the Leonard Skinner, Southern Rock of Green Cove Springs, try to get all that and cool logos and stuff you can do with that because kids are going to want to wear a shirt, all that kind of stuff. But just differentiate. But yes, this will be something we would build on. I'm hoping, this first year we really take off with the girls and the guys. This is going to fill that void. But again, when Hoover started, it wasn't what it is now. When Foley started, it wasn't what it is now. Foley is now a 72-team invitational, and it's in Foley, Alabama. It's not really a hotbed. So again, everybody's looking to do it. The college ones are all in June. You can't do them in July. It's like we're going to the University of Florida and the UCF 7-on-7 tournament. You also have to wear helmets. You don't have to wear helmets at ours. We prefer they wear the soft shells, but we can't make them because the FHSA hasn't mandated it. That's why we have to have the insurance for catastrophic, obviously. But this is something that has taken off. When I was playing, even 10 years ago, 7-on-7 was kind of a niche thing. Now, all summer long, you're going to 5 or 6 of these events. So no one else up here has put on a proper one. So we have the chance to do that, and no one's even thought about including the girls.
Awesome. Coach, I just want to say thanks. I mean, I think this is a heavy lift, but I appreciate your leadership and putting your neck out and stepping forward and saying we're going to do it here in Clay. I think that's everyone wants it, right? Parents and we definitely want it, and I appreciate you putting yourself out there to do it. So we're here to help you and support you. Any other comments?
I
Good
like
job,
that it's-
Coach.
I like that it's homegrown, and it's definitely a need period for sure.
Yeah.
And it'd take this money. I just hope you have a team to make it perfect for it. We'll help any way we can.
I got all my coaches. I've talked to Jared. Jared's on board. He thinks it's awesome for the girls, and
Yeah.
we've already reached out to some of the Fleming Island and Oakleaf to make sure we've got enough guys to run it properly.
Get it right. Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
Great. All right. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll motion to go with the recommendation of 17,000 for the Clay County Freebird Classic.
I'll second it.
Awesome. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations. Go get them.
Thank you.
Yeah. Number 11 is the Seamark Ranch Rodeo, which is this weekend.
It is.
Yeah.
So this is another returning event. This is year 2 of the Seamark Ranch Rodeo at the Ranch. A great thing that happened this year is they extended into a 2-day event because it did sell out. Correct, the first year, yes, which is great. We love to hear that. So this is the first grant application based on our new special event grant that you guys approved last meeting. So this is kind of just the 3 checkpoints. You get it, you got it, and you'll get it. So they do contribute to the quality of life, so that gives them the 1,500. It's a multi-day event, another 1,500, and unfortunately, it's not during a need period. So they do qualify for $3,000, and that is the ask. I have Mary Stanley here from Seamark Ranch, and she is here to talk about the event, and if you guys have any questions for her.
Awesome. Hey, Mary.
Hi, thank you all for having me today. Let's see if I can figure this out. I do have a couple of slides. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Sorry. A little bit tall. So anyhow, thank you all so much for having me today. We are so excited that this year the ranch is going to be able to host this as a 2-day event instead of just the 1 day. Last year, as Stephanie had mentioned, it did actually sell out at the gate. We were jam-packed last year. We were kind of hoping for 1,000 to 1,500 people, and we had over 2,000 people, and it was amazing. It was a very hot day. I know a few of you were there, thank you. But it was such a great time. And our initial goal whenever we thought about having a rodeo last year was we really wanted to help bring some more of the community into Seamark to know what we do, the kids that we serve, and obviously to help kind of fundraise for these. When you have 30, 40 teenage boys that eat like crazy, it's expensive. We also do have an amazing agricultural program and equine program for our therapy, and so that's all expensive. Our initial goal was to try and fundraise, but after we ended up seeing some of the ticket sales last year, we realized we had over 80% of our ticket sales were from outside of Clay County, which that shocked us. This year, we're actually, wrong way, I'm sorry. We are on pace to do that or more. We're right at 90% right now of our sales that are currently outside of Clay County. We have Duval's, our number 1 sales. Our second is in Miami. Our third is Atlanta. Then we've got St. John's, Orlando. We've got ticket sales and just all over the state, like I said, and also in Georgia. So that's really encouraging.
Someone's doing some good marketing. Yeah.
Thank you. That makes me happy. So yeah, it's really been such an encouraging thing to see, just like all the excitement around it, the people that are really wanting to get involved with the rodeo. The sponsorship levels this year was just such a cool thing to see as well, because we ended up bringing in over $90,000 currently in sponsorships. So we've got quite a few of our local companies that are just amazing supporters, like Valancourt. They're always involved in anything we do. But we've got companies like Bozard Ford out of St. Augustine. They wanted to come in like immediately when they heard about it again this year. They're like, we want to sponsor those belt buckles because we had belt buckles that are pretty cool. So like I said, we've got some great involvement from the community and outside of Clay County for sponsoring the rodeo because it's just, I think there's just been some really good talk about it. And to that point, we've had, because we were able to expand it to the 2-day event, we have people that are promoting it in St. Augustine. Obviously, the Record, they picked up this story, and it was really cool because they said, we've got some people that are, I don't know if I'm supposed to say like the name of the magazine, but like USA Today, they're like, we might want to share that in ours. So they had to get information from us for sharing it nationwide. So I thought that was really neat that they had some interest in that. But we have had people calling, I would say, 2 or 3 times every single day asking us, so we're coming to the rodeo, we've got our tickets, we need to know what's the closest hotel, we don't know. And so one of the really cool things this year was one of our sponsors, oh, I'm sorry, I'll go back to that other page. One of our sponsors was Town Place Suites, the new hotel in Middleburg. And so we're like, we've got a great brand new hotel, it's beautiful. So we've been sending them over there, and I was talking with the manager there, and he's like, we are filling up really quick. So I think we're gonna be full that weekend, which that would be great, obviously. So the event, like I said, it has just grown this year. We are on track to be a saw again for the 2 nights, which would be so exciting. And like I said, we are just so thankful for not only the community here that has supported us and has jumped on board, but everybody in surrounding areas as well that have been really engaged and involved and interested in the rodeo and its success. And so thank you for having me here today to speak. Last year, the grant that you all provided helped with all of our marketing and advertising, and we appreciated that, so we wanted to go for that again this year. So thank you.
Awesome. Is the setup the same this year, like around the ring, the whole thing with the bleachers and everything?
It's actually, we have expanded it. So last year, our arena was 100 by 120 feet. This year, it's 150 by almost 200. So we have actually built out the arena. Our seating is now, instead of it being seven rows of bleachers, it's 10 rows of bleachers. So we have additional seating. We also have a separate area this year that's going to be a VIP area for sponsors and local government officials. And so we have actually expanded everything as far as the arena and the area, and also just the offerings. We're going to have 12 food trucks this year. Most of them are local Clay County food trucks. So we've got like Dreamettes coming and El Agave Azul. And so we're really excited about that as well.
Very good. Bang for your buck in terms of a grant. In terms of a grant.
I have a question, if that's okay. So each night will be the same show, but it will be, I can come either Saturday or I can come Sunday, right?
Absolutely. It's Friday or Saturday.
Friday
yes, ma'am.
or Saturday.
Yes.
It isn't like a carryover of,
No,
I'm
and
gonna stay and
we'll
do-
have the same event. So there's going to be the bull riding and the shoot dogging. Every single night will be the same 9 events, but it's different riders, so they're all competing. The actual buckle award ceremony is going to be averaged out over those 2 nights, and it's immediately following the Saturday. So the cowboys and cowgirls are all competing for those buckles, and they're excited. So it is this. You're going to see both nights. You'll see all of the events. It's just different people competing.
Nice.
And are they local competitors or are they a circuit of some kind? That comes?
Most of them are not local. We have cowboys calling from all over. We have some that are coming from Texas. We have a few that are local up north, but we don't handle all of those details. We actually have a rodeo production company, S&K, so she handles all those details. I just know of at least 10 or 12 that I've spoken with directly, helping them get their hotels figured out, so that I know that they're definitely not local.
Okay, thank you.
What time is the event?
The doors open at 5. It starts at 7. Last year was really hot, so this year we did move it back 1 hour. So we're hoping that starting a little bit later will be a little bit cooler in the evening, which our weather does look way better this year. Last year was 97 degrees. It was
Yeah.
like an all-time high for that weekend. This year it looks like our weather, the high is like 86 one night and 89 the next night. So we're really hoping that stays on trend because that would be great.
The only thing that was hotter than the weather was the race for those belt buckles.
Yes.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was just, if you've never been to Seamark, it's such a beautiful facility. I mean, it's just, it doesn't really feel like you're even in Clay County. I mean, it's feel like I was in Yellowstone or something. It's awesome. Really good, really good. All right. Any further discussion?
I have a question if that's
Sure.
okay.
Yep.
So earlier it was brought up about places to stay, and you're working with like Town Place Suites. Just wondering, as you're selling tickets, are people asking about vacation rentals in the sense of a large house to stay in, or are they asking about campgrounds or any other like unique places to stay? A question you're getting.
We have had questions about campgrounds. I haven't heard anything about Airbnb necessarily, like that kind of that style. We've heard about hotels and campgrounds, both of those. Yes.
Thank you.
I had one thing to add. Not a question, but thank you, Mary. Mary provided a 4-pack of tickets to the rodeo this weekend, and we were able to give those 4-pack of tickets away to a family in St. Augustine. They're super excited to come to the rodeo, and that giveaway on our platform got over 100,000 engagements.
Nice.
So it was really fun.
Nice. Yeah. Just now I'm sitting here thinking that could also be another, just through the grant process, maybe we can think about that for future, and we talk offline about what that would look like in terms of you maybe could get more points if you do that with us, right? Because that's kind of that synergy of driving things forward. That's great. Yeah. Yeah.
I have one question. Is the same rodeo clown coming back?
Yes, he
Okay.
is. We got him,
He's
John
good.
Nettles.
He's
I know
good.
he's great. We love
That
him.
guy right there.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah, it's good. It's fun times. All right. All right, and I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion for the full amount.
All right. Motion for approval of 3,000. We have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. It's gonna be a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks. Number 12, Moose Haven 4th of July.
Okay, so normally we have Miss Marina Matthews here. Unfortunately, with the schedule change, she wasn't able to be here tonight. But this is a reoccurring event. As you know, Moose Haven holds this, the Pride of 4th of July every year. It is July 4th at Moose Haven. So they qualify for $2,000. They did request $3,500, and I think that's just because they're used to the old grant process. Again, this is the new grant process. So they only scored $2,000. I can answer any questions you may have for the event. She did give me some backup information in case you guys did have any questions, but it seems to be the same event this year. It's gonna be the car show before, and then the fireworks. Granted, we are no longer in a burn ban by July 4th. But yes, the fireworks at Moose Haven this year.
Chair, I have a question. Are they aware that they only qualify for the 2,000?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
What was the determining factor with the new application?
It's not a multi-day event.
uh,
That would have been the $1,500 that they're
Gotcha.
missing.
But it never has been.
Right, it's never been a
Yeah.
multi-day event.
Yeah. Personally, that's always a really large event for Clay County. I've went to that double-digit years since I've lived here, so I'd like to see us support them at their normal amount, but personally.
You know me.
I know, follow the rubric.
Right. Because if we open up,
Sure.
we took so long to get it to where we are. And I'm with you. I mean, I have favoritism and not, I mean, I want it all too for our, but I feel like, we open up that can of worms. You know me. So I make a recommendation for the 2,000.
I agree.
All right. We have a recommendation in a second. Any further discussion?
How much is the amount?
2,000.
All right. So the motion on the floor is for 2,000, and we have a motion and a second. So all in favor of the 2,000, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye. Motion carries. All right, number 13 is so that we're done with grants, correct?
Yes, that was
Okay.
it.
All right. So our next item is the facility improvement plan for the regional sports complex. And this would be a are we approving, we're just approving the plan, just a discussion?
Just a discussion.
Okay.
I just wanted to bring this, this plan to your guys' attention. A little bit of background. So the facility is 2.5, 3 years old roughly. And so, but I wanted to give you an idea of what we're doing, what's happening out there. We have infrastructure money that comes in every year. And so we've got that for the next 3 years, and I'll kind of go over some of the projects we're doing this year and then what we're looking at in the future. But I wanted TDC to be aware of it. It's in our cost center. It's in our budget. There is no reserves. There's no, but I wanted to take some time and just give you some updates and kind of explain why we're doing some of the things. Oh, wrong way. Table of contents just goes over it, nothing major. Executive summary just basically gives you an idea between this fiscal year and the next 2 fiscal years, some ideas we're looking to bring and some projects for the facility. This year, Perryweather installing a lightning detection system for the safety side, for the risk side. Obviously, people have WeatherBug, they have the Weather Channel. This is an installed piece of equipment at the facility that can be used by our staff, by the event operations to fully determine when lightning and bad weather is within 10 miles, simply put. Sorry. And then the other thing is to the July netting, the 325, which I'll kind of go over. Parking expansion is something we're still working towards, but I'll kind of leave into that. So that's the Perryweather, great looking machine. 7,400, 5,400 annually, and that's the software. It's incredible. It's somewhat cutting edge. The other bonus to this, as an aside, is that the Clay County School District has 6 to 7 of these as well. So the opportunity for us to use that in other departments and other divisions with this license is almost like a 2-for-1, just an FYI. But again, good investment, long-term facility, and again, ensuring player and patron safety. The netting for fields 1 through 5, 325, and I'll kind of show you a schematic in a minute. Not to go belabor the point, but if you remember, if you've been out there, the facility has a sidewalk that runs between all the fields. Logistically, that's a bit of an issue, especially when you're dealing with not as much flag or like tackle or, but lacrosse balls with like most things, when they gather momentum, inertia tells you that it's going to hurt a little bit more. So that's why we're kind of looking for that install. And that's all happening right now. This project is scheduled for, again, post July 4th, early first week and second week of July. Parking expansion, still working through some of our other departments to see costs. Truth be told, that is more on the actual like logistic piece, and that we're talking like fencing, parking bumpers, things like that. But the parking is a continual thing we're working through as a county to see how we can access that back area. A lot of different things are in play, but I kind of continue to give you an update. But again, something you've heard multiple times from groups about more parking, more access to expand usage. Next thing would be traditionally probably next year. So if you're at the facility, shade's a big issue. We have really we're 3 pieces of shade that are probably more used for like a small giraffe. They're very small, and they're probably only usable from like 11:30 till about 12:45. So what we're looking at is incorporating some shade on both the east and west ends of the sidewalks for obviously ADA reasons, because it's much easier to tie in. So again, another improvement coming from the budget funding we have. The next project would be netting 6 through 8. And then you can see that rough cost estimate we have. And I want to kind of explain, some of this thing is scheduled out because if you think about it, it's difficult to add netting and other specific things if you don't have more parking. So we're being very strategic in how we put things in and how we use the budget to make sure we're building it the right way with the infrastructure we already have and what we could add. The next thing is lighting. There's 8 fields. 3 of them are not lit, and obviously probably a budget decision when the facility was built, and you can kind of see those costs. The cost variance is based on poles, it's based on ballast. Ballast would be the piece at the top of the pole, and the wiring. They are in different phases, which I'll kind of go over in a second. So here's the fields, just to give you a quick overview. You'll see 1 through 5, and they're gonna have the netting. The lightning detection system will be at the bathroom, which is right above field 2. And just to give you an idea of the netting and what the scope of it's gonna be, so 1 through 5, if it's on the area that abuts the parking or the sidewalk, that netting will be Bermuda to Bermuda. That's about 225 in width. That's to make sure patron safety when you're walking through, no one's getting hit. On the outsides, on the north and south end of fields 1 and 2, and then 3, 4, and 5, the netting will be 150. And that's to ensure the cars, the woods, all that stuff, the playability of it. And then obviously 6, 7, and 8, you can see where that parking is in the back area. Again, still working to try to find ways to kind of get back to it. The reason I wanted to kind of present this to you is that it comes from the Tourism Cost Center. I wanted you to see kind of what's happening out there and also give you a visual of what we're trying to do in the future and going forward to maximize the facility. The other thing I would mention too is, like, so when you look at this, Field 4, Field 1, and Field 6 currently do not have lights, but the costs of those lights are variable. Here's the reason why. Field 4 has poles on both 3 and 5, but it doesn't have the ballast. So you might think, oh, well, 4's got poles, no problem. Doesn't have the ballast and the wiring. That's why it's a little cheaper. Field 1 and Field 6 don't have lights on the west side of the field. They have them on the east side. So those two costs are more expensive because you're paying for poles and the ballast and the wiring. Again, not gonna go too crazy, but just wanna give you guys an update. Let's see. Should be one more. There we go. Just an idea of the plan, what we've done, what we're working towards. And again, not to belabor, but because this comes from tourism, wanted you to be aware, because so many of the things we talk about are grants at the facility, wanted you to have some oversight and awareness of what we're trying to do out there. And then I think that's it.
Very good. Questions for Teddy?
How much parking do we have right now, and where would the additional parking be?
So there's currently 400 marked spaces in paving, and I think there's also, within that 400, there's 6 to 7 handicap. And then there are parking spaces around it, like to the basically the edge of, what is that, 3, 4, and 5, and then around the outsides that aren't specifically marked. Probably another 40 spaces, depending on, as long as Aunt Sue's not parking the wrong way or something like that. So it's 40 to 45, right? But that
Can't
back
be Uncle
area.
John, it's gotta be Aunt Sue.
Well, it could be, it could be Aunt Tom or, Aunt Joe. So the other, then on 7, if you look north of 7, that gravel area, that's where we're working internally to find the best way to access it. There's a lot of considerations, so we continue to kind of look towards it, and it's a great spot, just got to get to it. So both for access reason and for safety reasons, so.
And then bathroom facilities?
So they're right in the middle. So the bathroom facilities are just north of so where Field 2 is, there's the pond, then there's the building right there where the two places converge, paths converge. That's our bathroom facility, so. 6 stalls in each, so. Yeah. The other thing too is we have allocations for specific events depending on the size that we can help them with, like portable toilets and things like that and other infrastructure. So it is an option within our budget as well. So, but again, just wanted to kind of make you guys aware. I thought it was a good time. We've got the netting coming, some high dollar items, and just wanted to provide some oversight at a good time of year.
I have a question. So how competitive are our fields?
Yeah, very good question. There was a reference earlier, I think Jeff had mentioned. So I think we're in a very good spot. There's a couple of schools of thought. I know Alan's got some points too, but the natural grass is a massive bonus because, turf is great for playability and rainouts and things like that, but there's nothing like natural grass, right? And so I think that's part of it. The other part of it is we do have 8 fields, and so that's a large number compared within the region. I know Jeff made the point with Freebird earlier. St. John's is currently constructing a facility in Silverleaf, with 5 turf and 3 grass, right? So that's kind of, should come online, I believe, in Q1 of '27. So that's probably the nearest competitor to us. There's a couple in Jacksonville, but they're a little bit more private. So, but facility-wise, you know, for us, it's, in my opinion, it's a bit of a crown jewel, so.
Yeah, I would tell you kudos to Howard and everybody that was involved with it, the entire team. This by far is, now we don't have 16 fields, but for the 8 fields we have in the complex, it's one of the nicest in the state of Florida. The turf is unbelievable. We have to keep it that way. A lot of times people like AstroTurf, you know, but it does get 15 degrees warmer in the summer. And so people do like playing on grass. But bar none, when we get the parking figured out, the netting up, the lighting, this is going to be one of the premier 8-field complexes, let's say, in the Southeast. It will be. Yeah.
Coach, you got a comment?
Yeah, I've just been to a few in different areas of the Southeast, and the setup is great. My only suggestion would be having some sort of concession stand facility for rentals. Like we'll have to bring out tents and bring our own Blackstones and stuff to do any kind of concessions. So if you wanted to host a big, you know, Northeast Pop Warner Championships, you know, that's the issue you're going to run into. But the actual fields themselves are in fantastic shape, accessibility, you know, all of that is great. Having the lights as an option is great, especially if they're all going to get lit at some point. The lacrosse factor with the netting is going to be enormous. There's a lot of facilities that don't even have that. So you'll be able to track. Now, lacrosse does tear up fields, natural grass fields, but no one else is going to have netting. So you'll be able to charge a premium to have lacrosse come and use those facilities. And the other thing I was going to say was, with lacrosse wanting to change where the FSA is and potentially soccer because of our fields, is there any other space within that facility to build sort of a stadium as like having, you know, I know football would never do it, but to have the state series field sports, especially lacrosse, if we had some sort of stadium that could accommodate 2,000, 3,000 people within the complex. I just wanted to ask while I was here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to that point, I think there's also, like, we've looked at RFPs with options of like doing a lot of the games here and then maybe a final at a high school because they have the infrastructure, because we don't currently have that. There could be options like that, to Jeff's point, but you know, there are other things we can look at as well. Originally on the plans, just for the reference, Field 8 was, quote, a stadium field. It has more areas around it, so there could be some possible things to look at in the future. But, you know, we're pretty confident with what we're doing with this plan and our budget. The other piece is realistically, a facility like this is probably in the 30 to 35 events a year weekend range. If you factor in holidays and then agronomy practices like grass growing and rest. And then you also have the opportunity to bring things in midweek, right? So that's really where it will be. And the lacrosse end with the netting, you know, we don't really host any out there at all. And so to add that would probably give us another 8 to 10 easy. And then that gets you closer to your 30 to 35. That's the goal.
One question I have, I haven't heard about it in a while. What's the status with the cross-country course?
So the cross-country course came back on the design end, and we've asked them to remove the actual other elements and just focus on the course. So we
Gotcha.
should be getting that back from JAI next month or so.
Nice, okay. Because that's just another, you know,
That's correct.
yeah, another facet.
Yeah,
of-
on the southern end of the property, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. No, good job. You know, I had requested a couple of meetings ago, we had talked about reserves and those types of things and, you know, kind of having that plan. And I think it's good for all of us to kind of see that, you know, as we, you know, move forward, there's plenty of opportunity to keep making it better. Yep. Any other questions or discussion on that? All right. Moving on to our final item before our final public comment is our upcoming events update.
Okay, so we have some great events coming. Rodeo at the Ranch this weekend. If you can make it, please do. I would highly recommend it. I went last year, it was great. I know Teddy was there too, Cher was there, had a great time. Riverfest is coming to Green Cove Springs Memorial Day weekend. Keystone Beach is having some great events out there. They've started a summer concert series. So I believe there's 3 concerts this summer. There's 2 listed here. And then also the City of Keystone Heights, their 4th of July celebration, as well as Moose Haven's 4th of July. And then the sporting events that are coming to both the sports complex and the Thresher and Fairgrounds. There's a bunch of events out there. As always, you can scan the QR code to get the full list. Then if you know of any other events, please let us know and we'll get those on the calendar.
Thank you very much.
I just wanted to add, so upcoming, I know I mentioned it yesterday at the meeting, but we are doing a 250th passport on our mobile app. So this is going to be not only stops, historic stops in Clay County, but also any event having to do with the 250th. And big event coming to Clay County is the Freedom Truck. That is June 15th through 18th, sorry.
And that's going to be here, right, in this parking lot?
Yes. So there's going to be food truck vendors. The truck it's going to be like a pop-up museum. Lots of great history. So don't miss that one. That's going to be awesome. So look out for the passport and don't miss that event.
Mary?
Hi, sorry. The Freedom Truck is going to be here the 15th through the 17th.
Gotcha.
So I wanted to make sure the dates were correct, and then we will have a ceremony on the Tuesday, the 16th, starting at 10 a.m. that morning.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Yeah,
great.
this parking lot. That sounds fun.
All right, I'm going to open the second public comment portion. If anyone from the community would like to address the council, come on up. Seeing none, I will close that, and I appreciate everyone's time this afternoon. Anything else from our council members for the good of the group? Teddy, our next meeting,
September 2nd.
September 2nd.
Yep,
So
that's some time.
if we don't see everyone, go ahead, Cher.
You had a question about the billboards earlier, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
was able to pull up the locations. There are 2 locations in Clay County. One is off of Blanding and 295, and then the other one is off of Constitution Drive in Blanding. So that's
Academy.
yes, like across from like the Texas Roadhouse Pet Supplies area.
Nice. Thank you, Sheriff.
Yep.
That's awesome. Appreciate you. All right, if there's nothing else for the good of the order, have a fantastic summer. Stay hydrated. And meeting's adjourned.
You have safe